Shedeur Sanders or a rookie quarterback this year? Which one is more likely for the Denver Broncos' long-term plans at quarterback? We're breaking it down on the Denver Broncos mailbag. Henry, which one is it?
Rookie quarterback this year. way more likely. There's just, right now the Broncos barely even have a quarterback. Like, they have Jarrett Stidham, Ben DiNucci. They're going to get another quarterback. The fact that, 29 quarterbacks off the board now? Is that the number over the last week of free agency or so?
Almost 30.
Almost 30 quarterbacks. They're most of the good ones, too. So they're not going to add a quarterback until the draft. They're going to draft a rookie. That's who they're going to go with. For them to get Shedeur Sanders, they'd have to get the number 1 pick next year anyway.
Yep.
Or maybe like number 2 if Travis Hunter's number 1, So it's just so many things would have to happen for the Broncos to have a chance at him. No, they're definitely getting a rookie this year.
The draft is closer, and so that makes it that it's more likely that it's going to be the draft. And everything the Broncos have or haven't done this year when it comes to quarterbacks does point to them going quarterback in the first round. So let me kind of flip this question then. What would have to happen for you to realize, the Broncos are like tanking to get that number 1 overall pick in 2025?
If they don't draft a quarterback, that would be the moment when you say, like, this really is the plan. Because, like I said, you got Stidham, you've got DiNucci, and I guess best case scenario, you add Ryan Tannehill to that group.
That's best case scenario?
That's best case scenario, which is why you're absolutely tanking if that's the best
worst case scenario.
Unless you think... Trevor Simeon's still out there? Would you prefer Trevor Simeon?
Absolutely.
Well, there you go. Then Trevor Simeon is best case scenario.
Yep.
Still tanking. So, there's just not much of an option out there unless they draft a quarterback. But if they don't, then yeah, they're tanking.
And I agree with you. I think if the number 12 pick in the NFL draft comes and Roger Goodell says the Denver Broncos select Brock Bowers, tight end from Georgia, that's when it's like Shedeur Sanders is on Sean Payton's radar.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, that would be the moment. But then you still have, do they trade back up into the second round to go get Michael Penix, like Spencer Rattler in the second or third? You got Joe Milton there in the fifth. You got Devin Leary from. So there's still some guys out there, and really we talk about the big six. There's 3-4 more probably who could be starters this year. At some point this year, probably not right away. But yeah, as soon as they pass on a quarterback at 12, that's when you say they really might be tanking. And then if you get through the rest of the draft without some sort of rookie and even a day 3 pick, you're probably not thinking this is the plan moving forward. That's when you turn the page and look at next year.
So Sean has said for a year after signing Jarrett Stidham, I think that Jarrett Stidham is not just a quality backup quarterback, but can be a starter in the NFL. If they pass on a quarterback in the first round, I think that they're looking to fully rebuild and fully tank this year. But do you think Sean could truly be thinking no, let's give Stidham a full year as a starter, and he's not viewing it that way?
When's the last time Sean said that?
When was it after the season?
I don't think it was after the season.
So then it was when he benched Russ for Stidham.
Exactly.
And then we saw Stidham play.
And then we saw Jarrett Stidham play, and I think that was probably a bit of a turning point. To me, Ben DiNucci almost has as good of a chance of winning that backup job as Jarrett Stidham does.
The same Ben DiNucci that Sean said if he didn't win the job that he'd be a greeter at Walmart potentially.
See, the thing is, you don't say that to players you don't like. That's a sign that you like Ben DiNucci. If you're saying I don't know, just random backup, hey, if this doesn't work out, we got you a job at Walmart. That means that he hates you. He really hates you, and there's no way he hates a backup quarterback. So yeah, those are both good prospects. Not. They're both pretty even prospects, I guess is what I'd say.
Save that
one.
No,
make sure you get that whole thing. And it's nothing against either of them, but either one of them really could win that job in training camp. And part of the reason I think that is that Ben DiNucci, if it was a competition last year, would have won that job. And so now that Jarrett Stidham has kind of had the opportunity, so you're not totally convinced you need to keep him on the roster and see what he has. And the guaranteed money obviously factors in last year as well, not so much this year. I think that's a competition. And Stidham should definitely be the favorite, but there's a conversation there. But I think that the days of Jarrett Stidham might be a starter in the NFL, if that's Sean Payton's plan, he's not going to be in Denver much longer. So I think he's probably turned
Jarrett
that page.
Or
Sean. If your plan is we got to get Jarrett Stidham some snaps, I guess if that's the plan, is we think this could be a starter, then he's on the hot seat after this year. If he's saying we're tanking and Jarrett Stidham can like fill in, that's different. Like if you tell ownership like, hey, we're gonna win like 3-4 games this year, then you can get away with it. If you're telling ownership like, hey, I think this guy actually might have something, and then he wins you 3 or 4 games, they'll keep him another year just because it's Sean Payton, but any other coach might be out at that point.
Yeah, no disagreements here. So if the number 12 pick comes and goes and it's not a quarterback, that's when tank for 2 in Colorado. I should say in Denver, since he's in Colorado,
he is in Colorado
already.
Endure for Shedeur.
Really endure?
Endure for Shedeur.
Oh, like endure the bad?
I think that's Dre's, yeah.
Oh, endure for Shedeur. That sounds too like, nah, I can't get behind it.
No.
Tank for 2.
Tank for 2?
I mean,
it's too much like tank for 2.
Exactly. That's why it like works, is because it worked. Tank
it's kind of, you can't.
Now it's tank for 2.
It's already been used, you know?
Just cut off.
Maybe.
I mean, you could suck for Shedeur.
No, that's suck for luck, which sounds way better. You're stealing those.
Suck for Sanders.
No, suck has been taken.
Oh, you can't do suck?
No.
What's another S word? Tank for 2, baby. That's what
Endure
it is.
for Shedeur.
Endure. It sounds too endearing. When
really?
What you're doing is
you're thinking
being
endear.
awful.
No, endure and endear are different.
Yeah, but it sounds too much like it. I can't.
don't
Okay,
know.
fine. You're enduring for.
Sheduring? No, it's endure for Shedeur.
Endure for Shedeur. Tank for 2. Oh my gosh, we got to move on.
Yes.
You here? Can you throw the final 3:03 on the clock, because we've got a couple of questions. One coming in from our friend Austin, or Arvada Luke. I'm sorry, who has a really interesting one here, Henry. It's an oddball one. He says, we got lucky that Peyton Manning worked out. We honestly got lucky that Tim Tebow worked out. He says, is that a hot take? That Tim Tebow worked out?
He didn't work out.
He won a playoff game.
He won a playoff game. He also, I mean, if you're drafting a quarterback in the first round and he wins you 1 playoff game, that's not working out.
Late first round.
Still didn't work out. First round pick quarterback, you're hoping for more than 1 playoff win. And then you factor in that he actually didn't play all that well, and also was off the team very quickly before the end of his rookie contract even.
Wait, what happened on the last
The Chiefs
play
game when
he
he completed 2 passes?
No,
they won though. So
no, the last play that he had as a Denver Bronco. The last play in Denver that he had as a Denver Bronco.
Why the caveat? What happened? What was his actual last play?
That's all I remember is his last play in Denver.
Lost by 4 scores to the Patriots. Yeah, no, that was a nice play, but
great pass.
Yeah, no, great pass. A pass no other quarterback could make. No quarterbacks can throw slants, right?
No, not like that.
Nobody can throw a slant
in Denver
like that
on that day.
Yeah, no,
that's it.
Tim Tebow did not work out.
Yeah, I have the softest spot in my heart for Tim Tebow.
Who doesn't? I named my dog after him.
That's true.
Yeah.
Man, you're heartless then saying he didn't work out. Tim Tebow
just
absolutely worked out, because I'm going to take a big picture view of this. Without Tim Tebow's run, you don't get Peyton Manning here. If Tim Tebow doesn't play and doesn't bring the team, I don't think the Broncos had to make the playoffs to show that this team was good enough for Peyton Manning. But let's say the Broncos, what were they, 1-4 with Kyle Orton when Tim Tebow came in? Let's say they finished 2 and what would have been 14, because they were only playing 16 games back then.
Yep.
I don't think Peyton Manning comes here, because I don't think John Elway can sell Peyton Manning on this team being a quarterback away. But when Tim Tebow brought this team to the playoffs at 8-8, then won a playoff game, and a big reason why Demaryius Thomas on that catch.
Yep.
John Elway got to show, dude, I don't like Tim Tebow either, but he got us to 8-8. That's how good the team around him was. And then if Tim Tebow doesn't do that, then Peyton Manning doesn't come here, then the Broncos don't have Super Bowl 50. They don't have the best offense of all time. They don't make the playoffs for 4 straight times. We may be talking about a Chiefs dynasty that's even bigger. So yeah, Tim Tebow absolutely worked out.
So
helped us get Peyton.
I'm glad you brought this up this way, because I've had this thing that I've wanted to say for months now. Because there's still some Broncos fans out there who drive me crazy and say like, oh, it turns out you should have drafted Justin Fields over Pat Surtain, because then the Russell Wilson thing wouldn't have happened. It's like, no. That's just like, do anything different in the past to change what happens after. For example, like if you see like your grandmother's like walking with like a big thing of chili, and she slips and spills it all over herself, and you're just like, oh no, that's horrible. You could say like in hindsight, oh, when I saw her going to pick up that chili, I should have just grabbed a cup of water and dumped that on her. And in that case, because if you did that, she never would have spilled all the chili. She just would have gotten a little water on her. And so you do this like kind of bad thing, but it avoids the really bad thing. It's like, no, the real lesson here is that like help grandma with the chili, not like just pour water on her, do something a little bit less horrible. Like the fact that you drafted a better player and that's why you made the mistakes on the road. That's just like butterfly effect. That's not how that works. Like you don't just say like, oh, we should have taken an earlier, smaller disaster to avoid the bigger disaster when the two things aren't like correlate. So Tim Tebow, it's like, yeah, I guess like every single thing led to the moment when the Broncos won that Super Bowl. So I guess every move they made was the right move for the entire time between the last Super Bowl and that Super Bowl. But that doesn't. That's just not the way you grade decisions.
But Tebow, I legitimately think, did help lead to Peyton Manning.
I mean, no. I mean, it's part of the storyline there, but it was still like it's not like somebody was playing 4D chess saying like, hey, if we get this quarterback who can win this amount of games to show that he's a fine team but still not be able to throw the football so that we can then sell Peyton Manning in 3 years, that he can join this and do this. And like, that's not what happened. What happened was they drafted him thinking they had a starting quarterback for the next couple decades, and he turned out to not be able to throw a football.
You just tried to play 5D chess with me. You got me so confused. And our final 303 is up. Leave more questions.
Have we even gotten through the whole question?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, okay.
So leave us more questions, fun ones like that where Henry and I can disagree and Henry can be wrong. So leave us more questions over at thednvr.com on this mailbag. Really fun conversation. Let's have more of them. Thank you for tuning in.
We all silly like the mayor.